And welcome to the 78 podcast. I hope everybody has had a great week. And welcome to the 78 podcast. My name is Tom Barnes. I hope everyone's had a fantastic week so far. I certainly have. It's been a busy week here at Stories from the 78. Went to a place called Go Brewing. And if you are a person who's trying to eat a little bit better or take care of yourself better or not drink, Go Brewing might be the pot. One more time. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining Stories. Oh, fuck's sake. Now what? Hey, everybody. My name is Tom Barnes. This is the story from... Hey, everybody, this is Tom Barnes. This is the Stories from the 78 podcast called... Hey, everybody, this is Tom Barnes. Hey, everybody, Tom Barnes here. This is the 78 podcast based on the Stories from the 78 website, so I appreciate you stopping by. And a busy week here at the site. I went to a place called Go Brewing in Naperville, Illinois. And if you are a fan of getting healthy and wanting to do a new thing, people do this all at New Year's, right? Well, Go Brewing is a completely non-alcoholic brewery right there in the middle of Naperville. Pretty cool place. They have a spot for live music. They give tours, and they have all the fun stuff there, including like cold plunge baths. Yeah, they do that. At least they did when I was there. Go outside, fill up a tub of ice, and do that. They do yoga in the morning, so it's a very like she brewery, but nonetheless, good time. I had the pleasure going to a trip to Florida a few weeks back, and I stopped by Cocoa Beach Pier. And if you've never been to Cocoa Beach, it's in Florida, first of all. And Cocoa Beach Pier is just this, I don't know, it's surrounded by Ron John Surf Shop, which is a really cool surf shop. If you like the surf culture, skate culture, Ron John's. It's like one of the originals, not the OG. I think the OG is actually in New Jersey. But this one's massive, and it's on Florida's East Coast. It's about, I would say, like 40 minutes from like Cape Canaveral, where they launch all the space shuttles and all that stuff. I went out there. I was out there for a trip from a place that I'd rather not say. But when I walked out there and enjoyed the scenery, it really, truly was like a Jimmy Buffett song coming to life out on the pier. It's much different than the vibe in California. And the only way I can describe it is Jimmy Buffett. That's the best way. It just has that vibe. The pier jets out, obviously, out into the Atlantic. And on a good day, you can see space shuttle launch from there. The sunrise over there. I've spent many of a sunrise at Cocoa Beach and also seen a space shuttle, I should say. So check that out. It's really a great thing to experience if you're ever down in Florida and you do not want to do the whole Disney thing. You do this. It's a good time. Had the fortunate spot. That's not a word. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Opportunity, I think, is what I'm going for, to hang out at Lottie'S pub for a morning. We were there for CBS. I also shot something separately for the website, and Lottie'S pub since 1934. And I got to tell you, talking to the owner of Lottie's, he divulged a lot of interesting things. I'm pulling it up right now because I want to make sure I say this right. But Lottie, was a cross-dresser. At least that's the legend. And if you look at pictures, there's like an Adam's apple, there's a whole thing. And not that there's anything wrong with any of that, but the fact that this happened back in 1934 is pretty incredible. Lottie's is celebrating 90 years, and they did a whole thing this past week where they have a 90s themed party. They enjoyed 90-cent burgers and drafts. And in fact, they had a line down the street in the middle of Bucktown for the 90-cent drafts. And that started last Thursday through Sunday. But Lottie's is there all year long, obviously, right at, I believe, Cortland and something. I can't really think of it right now, but it's in Bucktown. So if you just look up Lottie's Pub or go over the website, it'll have it all in there. And it has a little bit of the story of Lottie herself and what she did. And it was kind of like a little city hall. Like there's this place on the south side, and it's called Shinnick's Pub. And that place is nicknamed Little City Hall for obvious reasons in Bridgeport. And the Dailies have done their business there, among other things. Well, this is like the north side version of it. Rostenkowski, I'll just say that. And all the dealings going on there. It was a huge Polish population in Bucktown years ago. That's actually why it's called Bucktown, because of the goats that the Polish folks would have walking through the streets of Bucktown in their backyards or whatever. They would hear the noise of the clink, clink, clink. And that is Bucktown in Chicago. And back then, Rostenkowski was the guy that got stuff done for Mayor Daley. And so much so that the owner of Lottie's, the current owner now, when he bought it back in the day, he was told not to talk about it. His name is Mark. They were just like, don't ask about it. Don't worry about it. Just continue the legacy of Lottie's Pub. But it was a place where if you let's say if you wanted to get something done in City Hall, like you had you wanted a new restaurant and you wanted to get it pushed through and you weren't getting anywhere, you go to Lottie's and maybe you paid Lottie $1,000 to get something done. Lottie would then pay somebody in City Hall and so on and so forth. It was the Chicago machine. And in that area of the city, a lot of Polish people lived there. So to get that Polish vote, Daley would send his people down that way, and Lottie's Pub was the place. And it was a gathering spot in the community. In fact, it was an old grocery store and packaged goods store that they eventually turned into a full-service bar and tavern. And Lottie's was a great place because nobody in the neighborhood didn't like Lottie. Like, that's the funny thing. Like, you hear about this rough and tumble Chicago from the 30s, which currently not much has changed. But Lottie got things done, and she had people in the city that respected her, so much so that down in the basement is kind of where a lot of that stuff happened. And it's been there for so long that the basement kind of used to be street level in terms of like the windows that would show. And now the windows are underground because it was built back in the day in that particular part of the city where they raised the streets to accommodate for the new sewer system that went in. So a lot of fun little facts of Lottie's Pub. I mean, they have great food, very underrated pizza. Their tater tots might be the best tater tots in the city of Chicago. And a really cool fun fact, if you're a fan of like the Chicago Fire Med PD on NBC, then you'll recognize Lottie's because it serves as Molly's Pub in all of those shows. And I believe like Herman owns it with somebody else if you know anything of the shows. But Lottie's is that pub, and they have some memorabilia there if you want to do anything with that. It's just a cool place, and it was a really fun story to hang out and just hear the history of Lottie's. But I mean, a lot of things happening, and I believe she got pinched for horse racing, gambling in the establishment. And this is the very Chicago story of it all. She got pinched a few times, got off, right? And because she knew people in the city. And the third time she got thrown in jail, and she had to testify. And before she could testify, she mysteriously died. So take that for what it's worth. Very Chicago story. Either way, been there since 1937, right at that corner. I can't think of the name of the corner right now, but it's in Bucktown. The name escapes me. You know what? Let's look it up because I'm on a computer, right? I'm recording this thing while I'm talking here. So I'm just going to slide this over. No, I'm not going to do that. Oh, maybe I will. Let's see. Let's see here. Lottie's Pub. I'm gonna have to edit this. Way to go, Tom. Lottie's Pub, Cortland. Okay. Winchester, after looking it up. There we go. So Lottie's Pub, right at the intersection of Cortland and Winchester in Bucktown. Awesome place to check out and get there, have a beer. They'll sponsor your softball team. They do a lot of stuff there. So it's definitely worth the trip down to Bucktown. One of my favorite things I've done in a while I talked to my friend Amy Bazzari, and she's written a few books, and she's done some things for the papers in town. But she wrote this amazing new book, and a lot of people think they know the history of the blues, especially in Chicago. You know, with the migration of all the black folks that came from the South to Chicago and brought us incredible blues music, specifically at Chess Records. Well, my friend Amy has an event at Chess Records the 27th, I believe, of May. And it's let me see here, Sunday, I'm sorry, May 26th at Chess Records. But my friend Amy wrote this book, and I want to make sure I get the name of the book right here. It is called oh, wait a minute, let's back that up. The Best Hits of the Blues Highways this fucking podcast sucks. I'm not ready.